Hello everyone, so today I'm back to reviewing watches and here I have with me is the Andan Aqua 2. Now, my first ever review of Andan was original Aqua, which I customized with like a white Cerakote case. That was 3 years ago, and since then Andan has introduced this, which is the new and improved version of their diver, aptly named the Aqua 2. So let's see how it goes. Now let's start with talking a bit about the specifications. Unlike most Andan watches, the Aqua 2 has sapphire crystal. So, as aforementioned numerous times in my previous reviews, I'm a huge advocate of sapphire crystal due to the inherent, scratch resisting properties that they have. I always look for sapphire crystal in most of my modern watches. Now, however, it looks like there isn't much of an AR coating. So, if I tilt it at certain angles, you can see the reflection is quite harsh, and that is unfortunately the case as well when you're out. But still, on some angles like this, it's fine. But definitely with AR coating, that would have been less reflective. Now, beating inside is automatic movement. This is of course the ubiquitous Seiko NH35. It's seen at a lot of watches at this price point. Some quick specs for those of you who are unfamiliar with the movement. So this beats at 3 Hz or about 21,600 vibrations per hour. Has 42 hours of power reserve, contains 24 joule and is hacking. So I'm a big fan of the Seiko NH35 movement. I greatly prefer it to the Miyota 8 series. So this is because the Miyota 8 series are generally not hacking and sometimes suffer from like a stuttering second hand or accuracy problems. But here, the Seiko NH35 is as robust as they come. Now you can, because Andan is Andan, you can customize the Aqua 2 on a variety of straps and colorways. It comes default though on this sort of black rubber strap, and I must say it's very comfortable on the wrist. There are no leather and I think Cordura options available, but I love it on the black rubber. There's also quick release pins here. Now there's also a loom on the watch, so I'll just pop up a loom shot here. Now Andan doesn't specifically say which type of loom is used, but it's sufficiently bright and long lasting. So although not the brightest and long last or the most remarkable I've seen on a dive watch, but it's still decent. Now let's move on to the design, which I think is the draw of the watch, right? Now the updated Andan 2 has a sleek minimalist design that I much prefer over its predecessor. To say that the dive watch segment is overpopulated would be an understatement. There are plenty of dive watches out there, right? But most of them are plenty of affordable ones, but most of them draw perhaps too much inspiration from more illustrious brothers like the Submariner, the Black Bay, or even the Seiko Prospex. Here with the Aqua 2, let me just bring this closer to the camera. There is sort of like a reductive minimalist design that feels modern and stylish, at home with both streetwear and formal wear. You can see here, that the white hour markers contrast very sharply against the matte black dial, and therefore it results in a very legible dial. There's also red accents here. Bring it closer to the camera. The red text here printed as well as red numeral hour markers. So it adds like a nice pop of spottiness, a pop of color to an otherwise monochromatic watch. Now, being a dive watch, it does have a bezel, as you guys can see here. Again, Andan doesn't really specify what bezel is, but it is, I think, aluminium. It looks cool. The matte bezel looks cool, but it is quite hard to rotate. So as you can see, I'm sort of struggling to. I must really put my wrist into it. I'm really struggling to rotate it. Yeah, it is sort of quite hard to rotate, to do a full rotation. So I would say it's mostly there for like aesthetic value. So if you're looking to dive on it, I think I need one more click. I think maybe one more click. Yep, there you go. So again, if you're looking to dive on this watch, I don't think you can use this diving bezel underwater. But if you're simply looking at Aqua 2 as a desk diver, which essentially is what it's positioned as, I think it will not be that big of a deal breaker. Now let's talk about, since we're on the bezel, what I do like with the bezel is over the side you have sort of this like hobnail textured rim. It's not the most, again, as I shown just now, it's not the most practical. It doesn't really provide much of grip, but it does add a nice utilitarian look to the watch. The screw down crown here, also has the same hobnail texture and is signed with the Andan logo. Lastly, the case itself is made of 316 stainless steel. You get polished sides, but over on the front, as you guys can see, it's brushed. So there is a bit of that juxtaposition in texture here. The different texture together, the hobnail, the polishing, the brushing, culminates in a case that I think feels refined both visually and to the touch. Now let me just put this on the wrist and show you guys how it wears. Alright, let me do a slow wrist roll. Alright, there you go. Now the original Aqua was a beefy 45mm, which personally for me was a bit too big for my wrist. Now the Aqua 2, make no mistake, is still a big watch, but at 43mm, you know, as you guys can see, I have a 7-inch wrist and I think it fits well. Like, it's still a big watch, you definitely can feel its presence on the wrist, but the lux doesn't overhang, you know, for my wrist, and it looks, I would say, proportionate. It is, however, a tad thick. If you guys can, I don't know if you guys can see, it is a tad thick at 16.5mm, so I do wish it's a bit smaller at maybe 15mm. But as far as dive watches go, you know, 16.5 isn't, you know, out of the ballpark, out of the usual ballpark. So in other words, you know, it's a big watch, but, you know, appropriate for like a desk diver or a dive watch or sport watch. Now to summarize, you know, I do think that the Aqua 2 is more striking as compared to the original Aqua. I applaud Andan, you know, for going back to the drawing board with the Aqua 2 and introducing like a dive watch that feels fresh, not derivative. Like the only other, you know, watch that comes to mind when I see the Aqua 2 is perhaps Unimatic's own watches. Because Unimatic also has sort of that minimalist, reductive, black and white design, right? But other than Unimatic, you know, I think the Aqua 2 lends a breath of fresh air, you know, to the very overpopulated dive watch segment. Now the because again Andan is known for its customization, you can also, you know, personalize. I didn't do so here, but you can personalize that text on the dial, or even, you know, maybe have a text or image on the case spec. But I would like to say that, you know, in my opinion, the black and white aesthetic, this pad back design of the Aqua 2, you know, lends itself to personalization. I can imagine, you know, perhaps a motivational quote or initials, you know, over just below the 12 o'clock marker to balance out, you know, the text at 6. I think it's great for personalization. So if you're looking for like a commemorative watch or as a gift, I think the Aqua 2 makes a lot of sense as well. So yeah, you know, again, the price point for this is reasonable. You know, for those who are interested in this watch or any other Andan watches, you can use the promo code WASOSHOK to get 10% off most watches from Andan, no collaborative and new launches excluded. After the discount, this particular Aqua 2 will cost about 414 USD or about 559, 560 Singapore dollars, which makes it a viable alternative to similarly price your Seiko Diver and Seiko Turtles and Seiko Samurai. This would be a good alternative. And it has comparable specs as well. Now, as compared to Unimatic watches, which, you know, share again similar specifications but are about twice the price or about 30% more the price, this I think is a good value proposition. Alright, that sums up my review of the Andan Aqua 2. As always, you know, if you like the watch, if you like the video, do give it a thumbs up, do subscribe, do turn on the notification bell, and of course, look out for my next video, which should be out next week. Until then, see you guys. Ciao.